Time now, my friends, for a trip to the movies in your front room or on your laptop or even, indeed, in your boudoir if you've got a TV there, because it's our Freeview film recommendations for the weekend, courtesy of me, Paul Ross, but mainly our main man when it comes to all matters movie-related, one of the country's finest critics, the mighty Van Connor, joins us once again. Good morning, Van. How's your week been, mate? Have you seen any big new movies?
I have seen big new movies. I'm not going to say that any of them were great. I mean, one of them was a carbon copy of a 16-year-old movie, but yeah, I will say as well, you're talking about the rooms that people watch their TV. I have a TV in my bathroom. I can't even shower without having it. I'm that
crazy, decadent cosmopolitan, you. Wow, that's fantastic.
I'm nuts. I appreciate I'm nuts, but yeah.
So, what's your first Freeview film recommendation for us for today?
Do you know what? I will be honest with you. I have watched clips from this whilst in the shower. So this is going with the bathroom theme. Only because this is one of the most badass movies I've seen in the last decade. So there was a sequel to this year. Came out in January in the States. Came out about 2 months ago here. Went straight to streaming here. Cannot understand why, because the sequel was even better than the first. The first is on Great Movies tonight at 10:30. It is Den of Thieves, starring O'Shea Jackson Jr. and none other than Jerry the Man Butler, Gerard Butler himself. This is effectively what happens if you take the movie Heat and you give it to the drunkest bro in the room and say, I want you to make this movie brotastic, and that's what you get. Den of Thieves. It's literally the same movie, but dumber and broier. It's the best way I can say.
With your mate Gerard.
And with big old Gerard in it. Not only is Gerard in this, Gerard is playing the corrupt cop. He's playing, instead of having a coke problem this time, like Al Pacino did, and he has an everything problem. Yeah. And instead of Vincent Hanna, he is Big Nick. That's his name, Big Nick. And do you know what? Perfect Gerard Butler. It's even funnier. It gets to the point of outright parody in the sequel. I promise that, honestly, watch this and then watch the sequel. Two great movies. The sequel is Bro Ronin, so Bronin. But
really?
Bro Heat.
Is that what it's called? Or was it Den of Thieves 2?
It is, unfortunately, it is Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, but I prefer Bronin.
Bronin's great.
Bronin. So Brot, that's my Bro Heat, Brot, and then Bronin.
Right.
That's how I call these movies. So the basic premise here is much like Heat. You've got team of cops, team of crims. The crims are going to knock off a big score. The cops know about it and they want to stop them. That is the premise of the movie. You need nothing more than that, except for just the knowledge that Gerard Butler is so damn cool in this. And if you're not going to take my word for it, you can find out for yourself tonight, 10:30 on Great Movies, or you can listen to this clip in which Gerard Butler just does what he does.
Need change?
That's for you, Fraulein.
Thanks.
There are so many cops in here. Last place I think they'd be.
Yeah, this day spot. Cheap liquor.
Right. Yeah, also, there's a lot of shady cats in here, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of neutral grounds,
You must have heard some stories in this place.
Give him a couple of drinks, steak on his plate, some nice women around him. He'll tell you his darkest secrets.
I've not seen this, I must confess. I'm looking forward to this now, because I like a bit of Gerard Butler myself.
I'm shocked.
No, not as good as Ed Harris, but he's pretty close, I think, Gerard Butler.
He's almost. He's almost. I would argue they are different sides of the same coin.
Yes.
And the difference between the two sides is class.
And if there was an evolutionary link between them, it would be Tom Sizemore, I think.
Yes.
Ed Harris would mutate to Tom Sizemore.
Heat. I mean, he's a Heat connection.
Absolutely, of course there is. Now, my first film is, if Dustin Hoffman were to have made an action film, this is probably about as close as it got. It's called Outbreak, 30 years old now, it's released in 1995, directed by Wolfgang Petersen, who made not only Das Boot, but also The Never-Ending Story, which is a weird disparity CV kind of double bill of films. And
then Troy.
Of course, yes.
Troy as well. I mean, damn.
And then this is about a poor monkey who's been stolen from his home in Africa or wherever he's been pinched from, and he's injected with some hideous Ebola virus is spreading around. The world could end as we know it. There's the prospects of whole of civilization shutting down. There's Donald Sutherland as a slightly unhinged general. He wants to bomb everything in sight. You've got Morgan Freeman as a more compassionate president. Dustin Hoffman's in it, as I said. Rene Russo, Cuba Gooding Jr., Kevin Spacey, Patrick Dempsey, an amazing cast. A great and action-packed story, and it is one of those obviously humanity is not going to end, but I think it's a film that's still, I've seen this 3 or 4 times, this movie, there's still a genuine tension in it, I think, because the acting calibre is so good in this film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I still, to this day, love this movie. I've loved this movie since I was 12 years old. This movie has honestly inspired my whole love of, like, what I call the virology subgenre of movies. There was meant to be a rival movie to this. I don't know if you know this.
No.
When this was coming out, Ridley Scott was developing a movie that was very similarly pitched around the same time. It was called The Hot Zone. And that one was based on, like, true stories and based on a real thing. But apparently the idea of the virus being loose in a cinema, like airborne in a cinema, comes from the Hot Zone script. That got shut down and it got ported over to this. Hot Zone did get made as a cable series about 6 years ago, I think. Maybe on FX, but that was the story behind it. Other interesting thing I can tell you about this, other than the fact that I will watch this movie once a year until I die, is that of every male cast member listed on the poster for this movie, this is a weird, horrible bit of trivia.
Yeah.
Only one of them wasn't Me Too'd.
Wow.
That is a genuine thing. Dustin Hoffman, Cuba Gooding Jr., Morgan Freeman, and Kevin Spacey all got Me Too. There was only Donald Sutherland that didn't.
Wow, and on that slightly disconcerting bombshell, it's on 5 Star tonight, 11:25pm. It's Outbreak from 1995, and here is, it's non-contagious, but here's a chunk of the trailer.
Now, I know that some of us have doubts about what we're about to do. We'd be less than human if we didn't. But the fate of the nation, perhaps the world, is in our hands. We cannot, we dare not refuse this burden. I'm confident that each of you will do his duty. God forgive us.
Your town is being quarantined.
We got 19 dead. We got 100 more infected. It's spreading like a brush fire.
What are you talking about?
If one of them's got it, then 10 of them have got it now. And if one of them gets out of Cedar Creek, we have a very interesting problem.
If that bug gets out of there, 260 million Americans will be dead or dying.
I'm leaving with the team in an hour.
From the heart of a small California town.
Damn it, Sam, I want to save these people same as you.
To the inner circle of power in Washington.
The most optimistic projection for the spread of the virus is this: 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours.
The greatest medical crisis of all time.
We can't stop it.
Begins.
That's a very over-the-top trailer, is it not? But it's a great film, that is. What's your What's your Saturday recommendation for us, Van?
So, 9:35 Saturday night, and they've timed this rather perfectly because we're about 2 weeks, I think, off the sequel to this. We're getting Megan on Channel 4. Megan or Mithrigan, because it's written as M3GAN. She's an android, is basically the premise here. So what you've got is, you've got a sort of tech, Silicon Valley type aunt, singleton spinster type, workaholic, played by Alison Williams from Girls and Get Out. And she becomes the unlikely carer for her niece when niece's parents are killed in, I think it's a car accident. She also happens to be a robotics engineer who's working on the ultimate playmate, the toy that you only need to buy once and then you never need another, otherwise known as Megan. Basically an Alexa with arms and legs.
Hang on, is this where Prince Harry found his wife? No, different.
You know
Meghan.
what? No, this Megan's more compliant, to be fair. this Megan's more willing to play within the rules to an extent. The whole premise basically becomes that when Megan, the android, is told, do whatever you need to do in the best interests of my niece, she takes it rather literally. Before you know it, the bodies start a-piling. I mean, it's a classic Blumhouse-style horror movie. Like I say, 9:35, Saturday night, Channel 4. Perfect time for it. We've got a sequel. The sequel is the 27th of this month, I think, and quite clearly seems to be aping Terminator 2. And going in a slightly more comedic route with it. I think the best way I can describe it. But the whole reason to see this movie is Megan herself. She is played by an actress, but they've mocapped her. They've sort of animated a genuinely convincing sort of silicone-skinned doll over this young woman. And it is once both hilarious and terrifying. Did you see this when it came out?
I really like this film. It's an unnerving movie, this, isn't it? No two ways about it.
Yeah, it's the dancing.
Yeah.
I can live without it. Like, you kill me by all means, but don't dance first. Please don't. It's adding insult to injury.
So where can we see this one tomorrow then?
So like I say, Saturday night, 9:35 on 4. Do see this because the sequel is 2 weeks away. The first one was a huge thing in its own little sleeper hit way. I think the sequel will be a breakout sequel in the vein of something like Austin Powers 2 or something like that. A very much a breakout sequel where a lot of people saw the first on digital or on home platforms. So I've got a clip for you, and this is basically a sort of a day in the life of Megan as she basically plays nursemaid to this grieving young girl.
Here we go.
Studies indicate that a staggering 78% of a parent's time is spent dishing out the same basic instructions.
Oh my God, Katie, you have to flush the toilet. It is not that hard.
So we found someone else to pick up the slack.
Katie, flush the toilet. Wash your hands. Roll up your sleeves. Great job. It was my friend Jenny's birthday.
Megan's an excellent listener.
This guy told them that the 13th floor was haunted.
And she even has a few stories of her own.
If it was so, it might be. And if it were so, it would be. But as it isn't, it ain't. That's logic.
Said Tweedledee.
She'll never run out of ways to keep your child occupied. And she'll never run out of patience.
Katie, seriously, flush the toilet.
Whoa, good film that is. Now, my next two recommendations for Saturday and Sunday are probably up there in my two favourite films, among my top 10 of this century. The first is on Channel 4, or Film 4 rather, tomorrow night, 11:10 from 2008. It is, I still think, although he's had plenty of contenders, Martin McDonagh's finest hour. It's In Bruges from 2008, which is Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson as hitmen, and something has gone slightly wrong, so they're sent off to Bruges to have a bit of R&R, and maybe
kind
one of them...
a timeout.
Yeah,
I would call it a timeout.
Yeah, that's right. They're on pause, aren't they? They're on on a hiatus, and while they're over there, they're getting very bored. Well, it's a wonderful place, Bruges, very dark, very gothic-y. It's a Venice of the North. It's one of those places. They encounter all kinds of various people, including a person of restricted growth who's a Hollywood actor, a hugely fat American family, a couple in a restaurant. Funny, I mean, it's an amazing black comedy, this. It's very violent, and it also features Ray Fiennes giving one of the most psychotic gangster performances of all time. I did not mean to compare you to an inanimate object. It's endlessly quotable. Will you kill him in the alcove?
You're an inanimate object. Oh, you're an inanimate object.
It's an amazing film, this. If you've never seen it, then you're in for a rare old treat. If you have seen it, you're going to want to watch it again. 11:10 tomorrow night rather. Film 4, In Bruges. I mean, I think this is pretty much a flawless film, this, of its kind.
I'm with you on this. I actually think this is McDonagh's best movie. Yeah, definitely. Like, hands down. I think Farrell is brilliant in it. Yeah. I think Brendan Gleeson is brilliant in it, but he's kind of the standard that we expect of him, to be fair. Like, for Colin Farrell, it's kind of a revelation. And for Ray Fiennes, it's unusually and very atypically funny of him. There is a sequence, and we can't talk about it specifically for Ofcom rules, but there is a sequence in which Brendan Gleeson says, look, you are and tells him, and it's, for my money, that's one of the great interpersonal, like, character moments of cinema.
I mean,
genuinely.
I love the other. I mean, another film with Brendan Gleeson from Martin McDonagh is The Guard, which is also good, but it's not quite as good as this one.
Well, that was the other one. Yeah. That was the brother.
Yeah,
that was John McDonagh, because there's Martin McDonagh and John. There's the two McDonaghs.
I think Martin wrote or co-wrote it though, didn't he? The Guard. I think he'd. Anyway.
I think he'd co-written it, and I think they just traded Gleeson. I think they just swapped him. But they just passed him like a hot potato.
11:10 tomorrow night, Film 4. It's In Bruges. Will you kill him in the alcove?
What is it you've done, Raymond?
Murder, Father.
Why did you murder someone, Raymond?
For money.
Who did you murder for money, Raymond?
You, Father. After I killed them, I walked home to await instructions. Get to Bruges.
Bruges? Where's that?
It's in Belgium.
For 2 weeks? In Bruges? In a room like this? With you?
No way.
Been to the top of the tower? Guidebook says it's a must-see.
Well, you ain't going up there.
Why?
It's all windy stairs. I'm not being funny.
What exactly are you trying to say?
They're a bunch of elephants.
Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
You have a message.
Number one, why aren't you in when I told you to be in? You better be in when I call again, or there'll be now to pay up. I'm telling you.
He swears a lot, doesn't he? Let's go out.
Go out where?
The pub.
Yes. And now my next recommendation, my Sunday recommendation, is another great film in my book. It's called Drive from 2011. I've recommended it before. It's on Great Movies, 5 minutes to midnight Sunday night, so it just sneaks in there. Directed by, I think it's Nicholas Winding Refn. I don't know how you pronounce his surname.
I think they go with Winding.
Winding Refn. And it's an amazing film about a Hollywood stunt driver who is also an ace getaway driver. So if you like the film The Driver with Ryan O'Neill, you're going to love this with Ryan Gosling. An even better film. It doesn't have a name in it. He doesn't want to get involved. He's got an amazing kind of set of clothes he wears. He's just Mr. Cool. He'll get you to a place, give you 5 minutes while you're doing the job and drive away. No questions asked. He won't get involved apart from that until he does, with a woman he thinks is a single mum, and she's not, and her husband comes out of jail, and he gets involved in that to try and half protect him and just to keep an eye on things with the woman. And it is an amazing film, cross and double cross, an amazing cast, including Kerry Mulligan's the woman involved in it. You've got Oscar Isaac in it, and also, Ron Perlman, Bryan Cranston for Breaking Bad, and Albert Brooks, who I always associate with great kind of comedy films, but no, in this one, he's an absolute stone-cold, snake-eyed killer. He's brilliant in this. It's an amazing film, this, is it not, Van?
Oh, this is such a great... This is capital C cinema.
Yeah.
Like, this is old school, like, 1970s, I want to be in a drive-through in a convertible cinema when I watch this. This is such a badass movie. This movie's so good, and also kind of so reliant on its soundtrack to an extent that I think was it Zane Lowe who did the thing on BBC Three about a decade ago where they literally remixed the soundtrack to it, like live as a live broadcast.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, it wasn't a great result. It didn't compare to the original, but I love that a movie exists that you can do this with. I would argue that Tron Legacy is a movie you could do this with as well. Like the idea that you can remix a soundtrack to a movie. But I think this is the best role Ryan Gosling has or ever will have to his name. I think it's a brilliant role for Albert Brooks. I think literally everyone in this is fantastic. However, the thing we all forget, like we kind of all fell on the Ryan Gosling train with this movie, but also it's kind of been forgotten that we all fell onto the Oscar Isaac train with this movie as well, in a very strange way. I love this movie.
And Christina Hendricks from Mad Men's in it as well, so this is on...
Oh, I was on that train. I was way on that train.
Plenty of room on that caboose, as they say. 5 minutes to midnight, Sunday night, on Great Movies, it's Drive from 2011.
If I drive for you, you give me a time and a place. I give you a 5-minute window. Anything happens in that 5 minutes and I'm yours. I don't sit in while you're running it down. I don't carry a gun. I drive.
So you just moved to LA?
No, I've been here for a while.
What do you do?
I drive for movies.
Is that dangerous?
It's only part-time.
You put this kid behind the wheel. There's nothing he can't do.
Kid, I want you to meet Mr. Bernie Rose. My hands are a little dirty.
So am I.
My husband's coming home.
Where is he?
He's in prison.
There's some guys that want me to do a job for them, and I'm not going to do it. What's the job? When you get your money, his debt's paid. You never go near his family again. Whose money do I have?
Anybody finds out, we're both dead.
That's why this driver's got to go, Bernie. He's got to go.
Now, there's a scene in this film, folks, and the first time I saw it, I didn't know much about it, and the driver is in the lift with a young woman, and there's somebody in there who means her ill, and I saw the film with a friend of mine, and we came up to it, and I said, well, it's an amazing fight scene in that lift, and then we suddenly both thought, except we didn't see anything. It's an amazing...
Yes, you did not. You did not at all.
You kind of think in your mind you have. I thought, oh, wow, I wasn't that drunk. But even so, it's a great movie. So it's 5 minutes to midnight.
It's
Sunday.
operatic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great movies, 5 minutes to midnight, Sunday night drive. And what's your final recommendation for us, please, Van?
My final recommendation is not quite as cool as Drive, if I'm honest, but it is, I would argue, as iconic. And I think to most people you ask on the street, pretty much exactly as iconic. So it's 2002, and I can't believe it's as recent as that. I thought this was about 2000 or 2001. 2002 is 28 days later. I'm going to the threequel for this next week. I'm going to see the third one of these on Wednesday, 28 years later. This was 2002, the original. We got a sequel 5 years later in 2000. 2007 called 28 Weeks Later, starred Robert Carlyle and Idris Elba and Rose Byrne, if memory serves. But the original is, I think, one of the seminal Danny Boyle texts.
Great
it's
film.
one of the three. Like, it's pretty much like Trainspotting, The Beach, this are the first three big Danny Boyle movies.
I love his son. I love the film of Sunlight. Is it Sunlight? It's called the one where they're
Sunshine.
It's a great film.
2007. I love that. That is a movie I love as well.
Yeah.
Try to persuade a friend of mine this week to rewatch it with me. He's like, I can't do it. It's too much. But and I understand. Yeah. But 28 Days Later, first of all, it was the zombie movie that basically introduced running zombies into the canon. Yeah. And I say that as someone who does not particularly enjoy zombie. Outside of Romero, I don't enjoy zombie movies. Like, I enjoyed the Of the Dead trilogy. And obviously, it's like what's a 7-film saga now? Like septology, octology. I'm never sure anymore. Yeah. There's a bunch of them now, but when it was a trilogy, Romero had the dime on this, and then Boyle came along, and And the weird part is that we all kind of forget. 28 Days Later came 2 years before Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. So it's also a kind of pandemic film as well as being a zombie film, isn't it? It's got that vibe to it as well.
It is about the spread of the virus. It is about the human toxicity that comes during a pandemic. It's about a man who literally wakes up after the zombie apocalypse has happened and walks out into it and finds himself not so much facing the dead, but fearing facing the living, played by none other than a pre-Doctor Who Christopher Eccleston, which might be one of the greatest casting coups of this century. Faith and I are rewatching his era of Doctor Who at the moment. He's brilliant in that, but he's not 1/5 of how good he is in 28 Days Later. Also, the Secret Cinema thing, absolute experience. If you've never seen 28 Days Later, absolutely see it. And you know you need to because the sequel's 2 weeks away. And if you have seen it, you presumably know on some level you should go back because it was that good. So this is BBC One. This is 10:30 on Sunday night on BBC One. And BBC One is showing it for a reason. They wouldn't otherwise. Like, sequel's coming. Check this out. Brendan Gleeson is in this as well. So we are really hitting the Brendan Gleeson card hard this week. Naomi Harris, Cillian Murphy, Christopher Eccleston, as I say, in there as well. I've got a clip for you. This is Cillian Murphy just adjusting to the world post-zombie apocalypse.
It started as writing, and right from the beginning you knew this was different. Because it was happening in small villages, market towns. And then it wasn't on the TV anymore. It was in the street outside. It was coming through your windows. It was a virus. An infection. You didn't need a doctor to tell you that. It was the blood. Or something in the blood. By the time they tried to evacuate the cities, it was already too late. The infection was everywhere. The army blockades were overrun. And that's when the exodus started.
Blimey, Charlie, I forgot how intense that was. And have we got an off-screen podcast to look forward to this morning?
We have indeed, because there is no way in hell I'm going to allow them to do a shot-for-shot, line-for-line, live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon and not spend 10 minutes on Mike absolutely raking them over the coals for it.
Yeah, why bother? Why bother?
I mean, presumably just money is the only reason I could think of, but...
Some great recommendations for Van, as always. Then make sure you catch the off-screen podcast. It drops at about 8 a.m. this morning. And catch Van with me each and every Friday with Freeview film recommendations for the weekend. But for the time being, for Mr. C, that's a wrap. We're live till 5.